Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. We're back in the Psychology of Eating podcast. And today I'm with Victoria. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you, Mark, for having me on. It's a real honor to be here. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your kind words. And you tell me, if you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted with food and body, what would that be for you?
I would love to stop eating as much chocolate as I'm currently eating. And I would love to be in a position where I don't want to lose weight. I've wanted to lose weight since I was 9, and that's never gone away. So it would be nice not to always want to.
Got it. And how old are you now?
34.
So in the journey of wanting to lose weight, have you ever lost the weight that you wanted to lose in order to make the wanting go away?
Yes. So I'll put my very long story short. I was anorexic when I was 13. So I did lose a lot of weight, clinically diagnosed. That lasted for about 3 years. And then after that, I developed binge eating disorder, like many years after, when I was 19. And then my weight really went up. And then I was in the binge eating for around 6-7 years. And then I found the gym and became really obsessed with the gym. And then the binge eating turned into bulimia. And I did get very lean. I was doing fitness modeling. My body fat was very low. And the problem is I always compare my body to those days. And I've even tried to mourn the loss of my old body, but it's just not, I still want that old body back. And it's really difficult to let that go.
Understand. So how long ago was the fitness modeling days?
It would have been around 28 to 31.
Okay. So it's 4 years ago. So not too long ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm obviously in no shape to do fitness modeling as I was then now. So.
And can I assume you don't have the desire to do it?
This is the thing. I can't diet safely anymore. And what I mean by safely is mentally, first and foremost. Like whenever I try and restrict, the binges are just there straight away. And I'm a very strong charactered person. And it's never really been about the willpower. Maybe at the beginning it was, but now it's like it's just completely disappeared, and it's not available for me to access anymore.
What do you make of that when you notice that happens, that you're not the same sort of driven, willpowered person that you used to be? What do you tell yourself?
It's very annoying. And of course, I've had many conversations in my own head, like, you can do better. Look what you used to be like. Just try harder. You've done it before. You can do it again. And, this may sound strange, but when I see old photos of myself, I'm like almost jealous of the old me, as if she wasn't me. I'm like very jealous of her, even though it was me. It's a very strange feeling. Yeah.
So are you in relationship these days? Are you married, kids?
I'm engaged with no children. So almost halfway there, almost married.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you see yourself having a family?
I've never wanted children, actually, and neither is he. So we've always said if he wanted one, I would have one. And if I really wanted one, he would. So it's not an absolute no. But I know I'm 34 already. I mean, who knows? But I've never been bothered.
So when you think back to the days when you had the fitness body, how would you rate just in general, your happiness? How good you felt about your life in general, not just about your body, but how was your life?
I would say in the mindset I had at the time, I would say 9, but in the mindset I have now, I would probably say a 7.
So what was not up to speed for you as a person in your fitness modeling days?
I had an eating disorder. So that was took over my life, really. I had every single ounce of my self-worth with what my body looked like. So of course, if you're bloated one day my periods had stopped anyway, to be honest, because I was so lean, but my whole happiness relied on what I thought my body looked like that day. So looking back, I loved the body, but actually how my lifestyle was, how my relationships were, not so great, to be honest, reflecting back. But now my happiness would probably be a 9.5. A 9.5? Okay, I'll say an 8.5 because the body thing's still there.
Got it. Okay. So just switching to the chocolate thing for a moment, when you said to me at the beginning that you'd like to eat less chocolate, what does that mean for you?
Chocolate's always been my thing. So ever since I was 9 years old, when I started dieting, I would diet with my mum, and then she also loved chocolate. And so we would diet all week and then get loads of chocolate at the weekend and eat it together. So it was also like a bonding thing as well. And then, of course, when I was anorexic, I didn't want to eat anything, not even chocolate. But then when I'd kind of got over that, my binge was always chocolate. It wasn't anything else. It's very strange. I could eat a lot of pizza and things, but it was this thing with chocolate. So now my relationship with chocolate, if it's not in the house, it gives me a bit of anxiety if it's not there. Like I need it to feel safe. But at the same time, I'm annoyed that I always want to eat it. So it's kind of like a lot of my life, I felt like there's two of me almost. I'm always like fighting. This part of me really wants this, but then this part of me really wants that. And then who wins? That's how I feel.
Yes. So when things play out in any typical week, how much chocolate do you actually eat? I'd
say at least 1 kilogram.
Okay, at least 1 kilogram. And how many times a week would you say you're eating chocolate?
Well, this is interesting because I tried allowing myself only to have it at the weekends, and I would eat the 1 kilogram or so within the space of 2 days. Mm-hmm. And then I've tried allowing myself whenever I want it spread out over the week. And I do tend to eat, I would say, around the same amount, regardless of if I'm having it every day or whether I'm kind of having it in a short space of time. But I can always eat more of it. That's the thing. It's almost like I've not gotten an off switch. With chocolate. With food, I can stop, no problem. I can leave things on my plate. It's just this thing with chocolate. It's like my crutch, because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. It's like my thing, almost as if I've got to have something.
Sure. How do you feel when you eat chocolate? Does it feel good to you?
It feels really good. And I even put it in a bowl and go and sit on the couch and like be with it and smell it and really take my time with it. But I just eat a lot of it, very mindfully, but it's a lot. And I'm worried about my health, to be honest, the sugar.
Yes. How do you feel afterwards, like 30 minutes later, an hour later? How does your body feel?
I feel full because usually I have it after dinner. So I've already got the food in there. So I feel full, but not like over full. I feel satisfied, like as in like, that was like really good. It filled the spot. The guilt isn't as bad as it used to be because I've worked a lot on my self-acceptance and I can give myself compassion now, which is a big thing for me. But if I allowed myself to ruminate, it would be, you didn't really need to eat all that, did you? Maybe we should take it out the house. And then I'm going back and forth again. And I'm just like, no, I'm not even entertaining these thoughts. But it's always like in the back of my mind, like it's dragging me down a little bit.
Yes. So are there particular times when you notice you're more susceptible to wanting more?
In the evenings, if I've had a really busy day. So if I've had a busy day working or doing whatever, and then when I sit down, it's the whole process of I'm sitting down now. It's my time to relax. The chocolate's going to be there to make everything so much better. And it was more so in the evening, to be honest. In the day, I will sometimes have a cup of tea and some chocolate in the afternoon. But even then, I'll never have a lot, actually, thinking about out loud. It's never a problem in the afternoon. I can have a normal amount, whatever normal means. Mm-hmm. It's in the evening. Yeah, after dinner.
Okay. When you think about losing weight these days, how much do you want to lose?
Do you work in pounds?
Pounds, kilograms, either one is fine.
I'm about 11 and a half stone, so I'd love to be about a stone and a half, which is about 24 pounds.
Sure. Yes. So are you actively trying to lose weight right now?
No. I feel a bit disappointed that I can't seem to be able to physically stick to anything to do so. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you eating like regular meals during the day? Do you eat 3 meals? Do you have snacks? Like, what's a typical day look like in terms of how many meals you have?
So I usually have a little morning routine. So I'll wake up, walk my dog, work out in the gym, do my steps on the treadmill whilst replying to client messages. And then I shower, then I eat. So my first meal is around 10:30 in the morning. And at the moment, I really love, I know it's a bit strange to eat it at 10:30 in the morning, but I have like a veggie burger done in the air fryer in a vegetable wrap with lettuce and sweet chili sauce. So that's my first meal. The old me in my head is saying, well, there's no protein in there, like kind of is bitching about protein a little bit. And then I won't eat again until around 1:30. And it's usually some porridge, like oats with some golden syrup or some chocolate in it or some Nutella. And then I will have my dinner in the evening around 6 p.m. And then that's when the chocolate happens after that in the evening, usually.
Yes. And are you ever hungry during the day, as in when you get to breakfast or when you get to lunch? Do you find yourself hungry, extremely hungry, ravenous? How would you describe your appetite level?
I would say extremely hungry, especially in the morning. I had to get over this thing of feeling full because even though it was so long ago, from my anorexia days, I had this severe anxiety around having anything in my tummy. But then ironically, with the binge eating disorder, it was all about fullness. So my mind, when my body feels full, it wants to automatically go to all this self-hate and this is so bad and this is so wrong. And it's almost like life or death. Used to be, not so much now. So when I wait to eat, I think I have to be really hungry in order to feel okay to eat something. It's almost like I have to not deserve, but I can't really eat unless my belly's like telling me, please eat something.
Yes. Okay. So why do you think right now, given what you eat, just purely given what you eat, why do you think weight doesn't come off?
Because of all the calories of chocolate I'm having in the evening. I mean, I just was looking randomly to see how many calories I get in a day with the chocolate I eat. And it's probably 4,000 calories over every day. So why aren't I getting bigger and bigger and bigger, as well?
Got it. Okay. There's so many doorways to go through here. I think I'm just going to share some thoughts so far about what you've been sharing and what's going on in my mind as we're speaking. I think that what happens these days on this planet, in this world is, and I'm going to say I notice this especially for women, there's a way that you have to learn how to be in your body. Any person, the moment you're born, you're learning how to be in your body. There's people changing your diaper. There's people helping you learn how to tie your shoes. There's people, you have to learn how to care for yourself. You have to learn how to wash yourself. You have to learn how to crawl and to walk. I'm calling that being in a body. Mm-hmm. At some point, you and I have to learn how to be eaters. And our earliest experience of eating is what we're given, what we're shown, what occurs on the table. Mm. Our earliest experiences of eating is also what we're picking up from the environment and from the media. And I believe it is virtually impossible to be female in this world, just about, and not grow up with hidden beliefs and images that drive us to want to be perfect. Mm-hmm. Because it comes at us through media. It comes at us through music videos, through just everything you see, it's coming at us. And what we see is there's a certain body and there's a certain shape and there's a certain look that's rewarded by culture, by media. And they're the ones who are having the great time. So when you and I are young and impressionable, we want to be the ones that get rewarded. Like, what do I got to do? What do I have to do to be loved? What do I have to do to be seen as acceptable, popular, lovable? And consequently, it can be a really wild ride. So anorexia is a wild ride. Bulimia is a wild ride. Binge eating disorder, it's a wild ride. It's literally you and I trying to learn how to be in a body. Like, how do I do this so that I have a good life, so that things work for me? Because every behavior that we do with food has a brilliant reason. It just has a brilliant reason emotionally, psychologically, and perhaps even biologically. The brilliant reason for wanting to be anorexic, for wanting to be thin, is because you've been given the message very distinctly that if you're slender, you're going to be loved, acceptable, and you're going to win.
Yeah.
And the girls around you are pretty much thinking the same thing. And the ones that are able to be thin for whatever reason, they're the winners.
Yeah.
So in a strange way, it's very competitive. On the one hand, it's competitive with others. It's competitive with self. But the brilliant reason is this is going to make you all accept me. And I will be perfect. Because if we're perfect, we're above criticism. Nobody can criticize me if I'm perfect. I'm perfect. You can't say anything bad about me. I've got a perfect body. What's your issue? You know, even though if we think we have the perfect body, it's almost as if I don't have to work anymore. I don't have to try hard anymore. I don't have to grow as a person. I don't have to deal with nonsense from other human beings. I win. So that's the promise of perfection. The challenge is it's an illusory kind of promise because you get the body that you want, but all of a sudden you're disturbed, you're distorted, your life isn't working, your body's not working right. When we're anorexic, we are very self-focused. We're kind of sleeping with ourselves, so to speak. There's no room for anyone else.
Yeah.
In a strange way. It's a very me experience. Any eating disorder or eating challenge where I am constantly thinking, food, what did I eat? How do I change my body? How much do I weigh? How do I look? How's this going on? How is this working for me? How do I change my food? All that conversation basically doesn't make room for intimacy from others. It kind of cuts off relationship because we're sleeping with our eating challenge. That's our bed partner. That's who we're being intimate with, that part of ourselves. That's why I kind of asked you, even when you had the fitness model thing working for you, how was your life? And you mentioned relationships weren't that great.
No, because I was obsessed with myself the whole time.
Yeah, there's not room for anybody else. And And it's not your fault. There's no way you can know that because, again, that's what you're taught. And there's millions of women who probably, if they looked at you in the moment when you had your ideal body, they were going, I want that.
Yeah, 100%.
But we don't know what the real cost is. All we're seeing is what's on the outside. So I think being in a body for you and for all of us, it's its own unique journey. And I believe if we look at it as sort of a spiritual journey and look at it as your teacher, how is this experience asking me to grow? What have I learned? And how is it asking me to grow further? So then it becomes a little bit less about, okay, do I have the body I want? How do I get the body that I want? Those are all fine questions because I think it's legitimate for us to pay attention to. Here's my body. What do I want? How do I want to be in relationship with this body? So you're asking that question. How do I want to be in relationship with this body? And my take on you is that you're in this interesting transition place. You're not who you used to be.
No.
You're not quite who you wish to be.
Yeah.
And on another hand, you don't exactly know really, really, really what you wish for yourself. Because the things that you're wishing for, oh, wow, if I could only have that body that I had, but wait a second, my being, my soul, my mind doesn't want to do that person again. I don't want to be that person again. Because it feels like you have to be that person to have that body.
Yeah, have to be very much in my masculine a lot.
Yes.
And ignore what my body's kind of sharing with me.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to ignore her anymore.
Yes. You don't want to ignore her anymore, but at the same time, gosh, I still wish I had that.
Yes.
So those are all, I just want to say, those are all legitimate desires. They're understandable desires. The desire to, I just want to really listen to my body. It's also a legitimate desire to say, I wish I had what I used to have. When I go out on a trail these days, I used to be a competitive trail runner. And I'm 63 now, and I certainly can't run competitively on a trail, but I can't run the way I used to run on a trail. I can't be as bodacious. I can't be as risk-taking. I can't be as fast, as crazy. And so there's a part of me that, oh God, I wish I was 25 or 30 again, so I can do that. So I will notice that desire. I will honor it. Like, yeah, that's a nice desire. And that's not me anymore. And there's a certain personal growth, I think that's already happening for you. It's already happening. You're already getting, I think, that in my languaging, you're transitioning from early princess to late princess. And princess not being an insult or a negative or a pejorative term, just to pinpoint that we go through certain archetypes. So I would say from 0 to 30, we're in some part of the princess continuum, i.e. the part of a woman where you value yourself relative to what's coming back from the outside. So for the young girl, do you love me? Watch me dance. Look at this. Applaud me. Look what I'm wearing. Isn't it pretty? Tell me you love me. And in the young princess stage, you need that. You need approval from the world because we haven't as yet developed our self-esteem. Plus, the world is telling you your self-esteem comes from how cool your body looks.
Yes.
So then we're thinking, okay, well, I need to get people to approve of me and love me, because that's kind of what we do. We want people to approve of us and love us. It's very sweet. It's very innocent. And it's who we are when we're young. And then at some point, I like to say from 30 to 40, for a woman, it's the late princess stage. It's when you start to come more into your own, when you start to notice that, you know something, other people's opinion of you aren't necessarily that important. You know something, you don't have to please this one, that one, and the other one. You know something, there are other things that are important in your life as you look at deeper relationship and partnership, as you look at potential parenthood, as you look at like who you really want to be in the world, how you want to contribute, what are your gifts. So all of a sudden, those things become a little more important than, do I have six-pack abs? It just naturally happens. So to me, you're in the late princess stage, where you're realizing that you're a growing, maturing woman. And your desires, I always like to say, your desires are worthy. They should be honored. And it should be noted, are those desires a useful thing for me to now try to go after? So yes, your desire for a certain body is very sweet. Yeah, that's cool. And is that practical for me? Does that fit into my lifestyle? Does that fit into who I am as a person? And you've already said it's your body and your mind can't do the things that you used to do.
I don't know how I did the things I used to do, in all honesty.
Yes. And it's coming to grips with that, because you were able to do it, because you were in a different life cycle. Certain things were important to you. And you're really learning to value now what's important to me now. So it's a weird transition stage. Because you're not there 100%. Okay, I'm happy with my body as it is. Because at the end of the day, that's the goal.
Yeah.
On a certain level, to be happy with our body, such that you and I could wake up in the morning and go, cool, this is okay. I can live with this. This is pretty good. Yeah, there might be better out there. I can get online and start to compare. You can compare yourself to someone else. You can compare yourself to you back then. And there's a certain point in our growth where we have to say, okay, that comparison just doesn't work for me. It doesn't take me where I want to go.
Yeah.
I tend to do it because I'm human. We're human, we want to compare. It's just a question of how long we stay in comparison. So I will still compare myself to people, but I give myself a minute to be in comparison and to despair about it. Oh my God, that person is better than me, better speaker, more this, more that. Okay, I got a minute to do that. Feel sorry for myself, done. And then on to the next thing. So it's really the amount of time that we spend in really kind of self-rejection. Because if you're comparing yourself, then you're rejecting this self.
Yeah.
And I think there's a way for you, even if you do want to change your body in some way, shape, or form, even if you want to shapeshift it, even if you want to lose weight, there's a way to be with that and say, you know something? I still wish to shapeshift my body. I'm not the person I used to be, so I can't be her. And I might not have her body anymore. But if I'm going to lose weight, I have to do it more on my own terms, in a way that honors who I am as a person and what my own soul is going through right now. and I might not be sure what that is, but in the meantime, I'm going to explore. I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to try to accept this body where it's at right now, because this is where it's at right now.
Yeah. Without fighting reality. What got me, the biggest thing that stood out there, well, a lot of everything landed, but when you said it's rejecting this self that I'm in now, that made me feel sad, because I don't want to reject myself. So actually that languaging that you used has really helped me to see, yes, comparing myself to my old self is a nice fantasy, but actually doing that, you're rejecting who you are now. And that's very powerful for me to realize. Definitely. How can I go into queenhood quicker?
Yes. You can still honor who you used to be. You can still look back and say, yeah, that person that I was when I was 28, that body, wow, that took a lot of work. I had the energy to do that. Was my life perfect? No. Did I get the body that I wanted? Yes. Did it give me all the wonders of life? No. But wow, that was pretty nice. And just honor it and respect it. And at the same time, honor and respect where you're at right now, which is in this, as I see it, just a very interesting, powerful, juicy, wonderful place of transition in who you are as a woman and what you value and how you express yourself and how you listen to yourself, how you hold yourself. It's a different life right now. And you got one foot in either door.
That's where the two parts of me is coming from, isn't it? Like this door, that door. Yes. Which door?
Yeah. So that is the two parts of you. And from my perspective, you are saying goodbye to that other part while understanding, yes, it's part of you in a weird way. Sure, our past is always part of us. We can honor our past at any time. We can look at our past at any time, anything about our past, and say, yeah, that's part of me. And this is who I am right now. And how do I honor that as well? So let's shift to the chocolate thing for a moment, because this all ties in. Chocolate is chocolate for a reason. You're not the first gal who has said, I love chocolate. Chocolate is world famous because it is very consistent in what it does. In Ayurveda, they say that chocolate contains all of the 5 tastes. I forget what those are: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, pungent. So it contains this full profile such that when you eat it, you're getting every taste that the body would want. It also has a certain texture that's pleasurable. It also has, depending on the chocolate that you get, when you have a food that is approximately half fat, half sugar, it gives the human body the most pleasure chemistry release. 10% fat, 90 sugar, no. But as soon as you hit that, like right around that 50-50 point, which is a lot of chocolates, it's pleasure chemistry. So on the one hand, chocolate is arguably the food of all the foods on the planet that we can say gives the most pleasure chemistry for the most human beings. So it doesn't surprise me then if somebody gets hooked on chocolate, if somebody is extremely attracted to chocolate. Now, you and I have, a bunch of taste buds on our tongue, sweet, salty, sour, bitter, etc. And yeah, we got sweet taste buds there. And they're there for a good reason. They're waiting for something sweet.
Yes.
The way the intelligence of the universe designed us is that we are built for pleasure. There are certain aspects of our physiology that are simply there to make us feel good. And part of that is oral pleasure. Part of that is taste pleasure. That it's a very deep experience of, yes, this feels so good. I am happy to be here. This moment is great. So you and I and every other human being were designed to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Every single mammal, every reptile, every single-celled organism, seek pleasure, avoid pain. So when you're eating chocolate, you are seeking the pleasure of chocolate. It feels good. You're avoiding the pain of boredom. You're avoiding the pain of hunger. You're avoiding the pain of anxiety, because you can have a bad day and you could eat chocolate and you could instantly feel better. So I'm just explaining the biological reasons why chocolate and eating it makes perfect sense for you or for anybody else. Because the first thing we have to do is we always have to make the behavior right. So when you tell me you love chocolate, all I hear is, oh, of course you do.
Yeah.
If you didn't love it, I might be a little concerned.
We're not sat here eating bowls of broccoli, are we?
Right. Exactly. So here's the thing, because chocolate gives us such an intense pleasure hit. If I'm not spreading out my pleasure quotient throughout the day in other parts of my life, then certain pleasures are going to be more important. So if I'm not getting enough pleasure during my day in the little ways, if I'm not getting enough pleasure during my week in the little ways, and it doesn't have to mean pure pleasure, it can mean just good feelings. If I'm not getting enough of that, chocolate's going to become more important. Right now, what I hear is that chocolate is important to you.
Very.
And so where my brain goes is, okay, are there other things in life that you've put down the ladder of importance that need to be elevated up more? Because in a strange way, I wouldn't say to you, Victoria, you really need to take chocolate out of your diet. Let's see if we can cut it in half. And then when we cut it in half, let's see if we can cut it by a quarter. So I don't know if anybody can take away chocolate from you until you start to replace some of what chocolate's helping you do.
I think the word relax is coming to me more than anything, actually, because it's that whole like getting cozy with a little blanket, like with my bowl of chocolate. And what I get annoyed at myself with is, why does it have to be so much chocolate? Like, why I sometimes would rather not have any at all if I can't have it as whatever amount I want. And that's what confuses me. Like, why is that? Because again, I guess it's comparing. Some people can just enjoy a bar and then be fine. But it's almost like, in order to be satisfied, to receive the pleasure, I need a lot of it. And I don't know why.
Okay, so great observation. So I need a lot of it. I don't know why. Instead of asking why, because sometimes why questions just don't get us to where we want to go. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I'm going to guess in this case that the why isn't really that important. Why do I think you need more? Because you need more, because there's something it's giving you that hits that point of satisfaction that you're looking for. There's something that it's giving you. Where when you have enough for you, your body is able to say, okay.
Yes, that's exactly the feeling. Okay. It's like, that's better.
So in the way I think, I would love for you to start to explore what else. What else in my life gets me even partially to that same place that chocolate does, partially even. So where are the other places in life that I can be having more fun, more pleasure, more relaxation, more of a feeling of fulfillment? There's a certain, I'm filled up.
Mm. Yeah, two things are coming to mind: massage and making love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both fill up the body.
Mm.
If you're a woman, with all due respect, you're being entered, you're being filled up.
Mm.
When a woman eats, she's being filled up.
Oh yeah, of course.
A lot of men will overeat, not so they can feel filled up. They actually overeat so they can disappear. A lot of times you see men sit in front of a television and they'll watch a sports game and they'll be eating and they'll be drinking. And really what they're doing is they're not going, oh my God, I love this popcorn so much. And I love this nasty beer so much. No, they're eating and drinking to kind of disappear. So everything goes away except them and the football. So I notice men and women can be different in this regard. So it's really starting to look at how can I get more of touch fills us up. It's creating pleasure chemistry throughout the body. It's giving you something deep in what you need. And it's really a great exploration for you and your partner to really, really play with that. I mean, what a great homework assignment for you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he'll be happy about that.
Yes, because it's a way for you to be in your body and feel a sense of fulfillment, feel a sense of pleasure, and do whatever you need to do. Ask for whatever you want that can help take you to the place where you want to go. What often happens in sexual relationships, especially people who've been together for a while, it can get habitual. And we do the same thing. We do what we know. And we're not always willing to experiment. And either partner is not always willing to say, here's what I want.
That's so interesting, actually, because thinking back to the fitness modeling days, I was single most of the time, and seeing men and having relations and having fun, even though I had binge eating disorder, the chocolate wasn't as, I didn't feel the same way to the chocolate as I do now, because I was getting that excitement from, and the pleasure and the excitement from somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's just a part of you that just needs you to be lit up.
Yes. And feel which you do get after having a great lovemaking session. Yes. You feel that, that's better almost.
Yes. It's a relief. It's a satisfaction. It's a pleasure. It's a fulfillment. So with sex, with touch, with anything else, I would consider, after, at some point in the next day or two, for you to just write down a list, write down an inventory of everything you could think of: persons, places, things, thoughts, feelings, foods, experiences that give you some measure of fulfillment. It doesn't have to be that ultimate fulfillment, but some measure of fulfillment, and start to notice what you can add more to that list. Like what you can do more. Yeah. Are there things that fulfill you that you don't necessarily do? Are there people friends you can hang around with that's just very fulfilling? Certain kind of music that you can be listening to, or movement or dance that's very fulfilling. Certain kind of exercise that, even if it doesn't burn calories, it's just very fulfilling. You really enjoy it.
Yeah, a few things come into mind. I love exercise. That's in my life. Always has been since I found the gym. So I do a lot of that. What's coming to mind is more slower things, like more yoga, more like just being with myself and connecting to my body. And also, I think just relaxing more. Like, even though I work for myself, I still am switched on all the time. And if I have like 10 minutes, I can't just be like, 10 minutes. I'm like, I must like be working or I must be doing something all the time until at the end of the day, then I can, because I'm almost like allowed because it's the end of the day. So that just shows that if I give myself little bits in between the day, because I am blessed to be able to create my calendar to do that.
Yes.
It's just getting outside my comfort zone and allowing myself to actually sit down for 20 minutes and not feel guilty for taking that time to do nothing.
So important. So important, especially like you said, you have the ability to have the schedule that you want. Which brings me, I want to mention one other thing that we talked about. I was asking you about your meals, your level of hunger. So there's still a place in you that is from the old you, from the anorexic days. It's an old way of thinking that used to work. And that old way of thinking is essentially, if I feel filled up with food, that's a bad thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
So another way of saying that is food is my enemy.
Because it fills you up.
Yeah.
And it stays in your tummy until the next day or whatever.
Yeah. So food, our appetite is satisfied when certain conditions are met in the body. So you and I have a natural appetite, and we have a natural appetite regulation. People get confused about their appetites because they're taught to diet and they're taught all kinds of crazy things. And consequently, it's easy to lose touch with one's appetite. It's easy to lose touch with one's appetite if I'm totally focused on work and I'm not paying attention to my body. And then all of a sudden I'm hungry. It's easy to not be in touch with my appetite if I have the belief, I cannot be filled up. I cannot feel full in my stomach, whatever that means for you. And therefore, I'm going to come short of that, maybe a lot short of that. And then you're going to come to your next meal really hungry. So I think what might be happening for you is that your meals are not really satisfying you.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And when you get to chocolate, you're satisfied. That's a satisfying experience.
Yes.
These other eating experiences, no, they weren't satisfying for me.
Yeah.
So I wish for you to experiment with creating more satisfying meals, which is going to mean on a certain level that you're going to have to trust your body a bit more and really listen to it. Here's what I want to say. The body changes every 5-10 years. You have a different body. So the body that you had when you were 10 is different from 20, is different from 30, is different from 34. It's a different body. And therefore, there's slightly different rules. The rules change. And what happens is a lot of people think that I need to do the things I used to do in order to have kind of what I want. And I believe that your body has a certain natural weight for where you are at right now in your life.
I agree, because like I say, I should, if science was on paper, be putting on more and more weight, but I'm not. I'm just staying this size.
Yes. So your body has its own rules. It has its own wisdom, has its own thing that it does. Our job is to pay attention and to notice and to do our best to do the practices that we know work. So I'm going to say a practice that works for helping me find my natural appetite and my natural weight is to be awake and aware and pay attention to my appetite. When am I hungry? And is this meal that I just ate, does it give me a sense of fulfillment? If you're coming away from your meal hungry, if there wasn't enough of the macronutrient balance that your body needs. So when you say, I eat a veggie burger for breakfast, part of my brain says, does that have enough protein in it? It's macronutrient balance is one way to play with your diet to see, would a breakfast that's more rich in protein and fat be more satisfying for me? And would it bring you to lunch not feeling really hungry? Would a more protein and fat rich lunch satisfy you? Because right now it sounds like you're eating a little bit light, just a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then at the end of the day, I'm almost like making myself wait, which is an old behavior I used to do all the time, but that was for the whole day. I can't do that anymore. But it's almost like I'm making myself wait for pleasure at the end of the day, but I'm merging the pleasure, the satisfaction, and the actual physically feeling full after a meal all together with that one chocolate.
Bingo. Yeah. So that chocolate becomes really important because it's finally giving you what you ought to be getting at every meal, which is pleasure and satisfaction. Granted, chocolate's going to give you a different experience than a veggie burger. That's understandable. But there's a lot of energy, pressure, weight getting put on that chocolate. It's got to deliver, and it does for you. So you can't take away chocolate until you add in what else you need. So from a nutritional standpoint, what I'm going to guess you need is to experiment with different breakfasts and different lunches, and maybe even different dinners, so that at each meal you have a sense of fulfillment and a sense of, that feels good, and not waiting to reward yourself at the end of the day, because part of that means, well, I've eaten little enough food during the day, so now I deserve chocolate.
That's mentally and from a biological standpoint, because I'm very active. I walk 3 times a day. I work out. My body probably needs a lot more than I want to think I do. And then if I probably ate more in the day and felt satisfied, I wouldn't feel like I needed as much chocolate, because I do listen to my body. I don't eat, if I'm eating chocolate and I am honestly full, I can leave the rest of it. So I'm not binging where I'm just literally force feeding myself anymore, but it takes a long time to feel that, that's enough now. Yes.
So I want you to start having that experience during the day. And part of it means you being willing to be an explorer, you being willing to experiment. And there might be times when you overeat and you go, that was actually too much. And then the lesson is to learn how to forgive yourself. And the lesson is to learn how to not go into fear and anxiety. Oh my God, this is going to make me gain weight. And then we go into a negative self-conversation. Part of trusting yourself and trusting your body is just trusting that you're going to be there for yourself no matter what happens. So I'm trying different things. And if it doesn't work, I'm not going to beat myself up, because I'm trying different things. And I'm not always going to be perfect. And guess what? We overeat sometimes. We binge eat. We emotionally eat. So those aren't bad signs in a human being's, overall food behavior. They happen. It's about you learning right now that you can stand by yourself, that you can forgive yourself, and you can be in a new phase where you're just experimenting and seeing, okay, what works for me? What works for my body? Because a lot of times, and you mentioned this, if we're doing a lot of exercise and we're not eating enough food, you won't necessarily get the benefit of that exercise, the full calorie burning benefit of that exercise. Because if the brain is sensing lack of food, lack of nutrition, then it will in some way, shape, or form slow down metabolism. Or it's going to drive appetite even further. Because if I'm not giving my body enough, the brain usually does one of two things. It screams hungry at some point during the day. So part of what is likely happening with you with chocolate as well, it might be that your body's just screaming when you get to chocolate. Your body wants more nutrition. And because chocolate's a very dense food, you're going to pull nutrition from it, actually.
Yeah, carbohydrates and fats mainly.
Yeah. So you're going to pull some nutrition. There's going to be some satisfaction there. So it's learning again how to give yourself more nourishing meals during the day, experiment with being more fulfilled during the day, because then your body's going to sense, oh, I'm getting enough food. If the body's not getting enough food, its response is oftentimes, I must be on a desert island. I must be in starvation conditions. I better slow down metabolism and store fat and not build muscle. So that's what the body does when it senses not enough food.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of people at some point in their dieting life, people will say, yeah, I used to diet and I could lose weight, and now I diet and I don't lose any weight. And I even eat less than I used to eat and I still don't lose weight, because your metabolism has changed. It's not playing that game anymore. It's your metabolism is wise enough to say, we're starving, people. There's not enough food. I'm going to slow down because I'm trying to save this life. I'm trying to save this body because it's starving. That's kind of what the body knows how to do. So another way of saying that is we're not a simple input-output calorie burning machine.
Which the diet culture makes us believe, and we just need to try harder.
Exactly.
And eat less calories, and that's it. And then your life will be magic and unicorns and all sorts.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Victoria, what do you think? Has this been a useful conversation for you?
So useful. I cannot wait to listen to it back, because there's so many takeaways. What's coming up for me is, number one, physical nourishment. So I'm excited to experiment actually with what feels good and what doesn't. Emotional fulfillment, have more sex, have more body touching, maybe treat myself to a massage every couple of weeks or something. Be kinder to myself. It's all okay. And then I'm sure there was even more. Yeah, the princess queen analogy is a big one. And the fact that I'm actually self-rejecting at the moment, constantly longing after the person I was, and I'm not actually that person anymore. So there's so much wisdom and golden nuggets in this conversation. I'm just so grateful that we've done this. Thank you.
Me too. And I really appreciate how you've been able to just sort of dance along with the conversation and just be open. And I think you're perfectly positioned to really go to some good places with yourself and have a whole new relationship with your body, and potentially have a different body. Because sometimes I've just noticed, sometimes before the body shifts, we need to shift. There's times in my life I could exercise, do this, that, and the other thing, and I get fit and I put on muscle and I lose weight. And there's other times in life where there's a change in me that has to happen before my body really shifts. If my body wants to become stronger, there's certain places in me that I have to become stronger. If my body wants to be more fit, there's certain places, certain things that I might need to let go of just as a person in my internal world. So I think you might be in that place where your mind and your body, they're just more connected.
The word let go really resonated. It's almost like I'm holding on, and part of me doesn't want to hold on. And the other part's, no, you have got to hold on. But I think if I just release, just the energy shift alone is going to shift things without me even focusing on nourishment and emotional regulation as well as. So I'm very excited. And this has been so key and so helpful for me. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad we had this conversation.
Me too. Thank you so much, Mark.
Yes. Take care, everybody. More to come.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care. And remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.